Hey everybody, welcome to 7 Mile Hills Sanctuary. We are pleased to have with us Rick Van Slooten as he shares his love for the Seppalas Siberian husky. And as we celebrate this month, Leonard Seppala, his journey with his dog team from Nenana to Nome, we commemorate the 1925 Serum Run. At any rate, Rick, we're gonna kick this off, okay?
Okay.
So, at any rate, Rick, let me ask you a few questions concerning Gabe. First of all, Rob and I are very thankful that you purchased one of our dogs, but we want to ask you if you would share why you chose Seppala Siberian Husky to start with.
Sure. After roughly 30 years with standard Siberian Huskies, it was suggested to me, and I had already been thinking about it as well over the last 2 years of my former Husky's life, what I wanted to do next. And what that involved was I wanted to learn more, wanted to do more. I wanted to take it from just being a pet owner and doing lots of stuff with the Huskies to wanting to actually learn how to mush and get into that lifestyle. I've always been fascinated by it. And when my former Husky was really, really sick, I ended up having to put him down. Normally I wait, sorry, Gabe's right next to me. Normally I wait until the grieving process is done, somewhere between 9 months and maybe a little over a year, between getting getting another dog. And this time it was suggested to me by a lot of people that knew me, a lot of really good friends, including Holly Hart, and really get back into it. And also, it was suggested to me, and I had already been kicking around the idea myself, of getting a working line dog. So I started looking here in Michigan, and lots of great dogs. There were lots of great suggestions, and I couldn't seem to gain any traction I talked to lots of people, but I couldn't seem to get anybody interested in taking a chance on me for a working line dog. But there were other kennels here that at the time I did not know existed and never came across. And so, for me, once, and I looked at lots of puppies. I had friends that were rescuing puppies from bad situations here in my area. And it was hard for me on several occasions to meet with these people and see these puppies and start to connect with them and then have to walk away from them, knowing that I could give them a really good home and a really good future and really good care, but also knowing that that was not what I really wanted. I wanted a Husky or a Northern breed dog that I could truly learn how to mush and how to do different things, canicross, skijoring. And so I walked away from a lot of puppies. There was a couple of weekends where I was kind of a little despondent, crying and missing my other dog. Mm-hmm. And then one day, Holly and I were talking back and forth. I couldn't sleep because in my adult life, I've built my whole life around the care of these dogs. I just couldn't live without having one in my life. And the more Holly and I talked, the more it seemed to me like the Seppala was exactly what I was looking for. All of the stories that I had heard about and read about, easier to train, really tight bond with their humans, that they take to the harness as if they were born to it. Those were the reasons, and also, if I'm being brutally honest, the special heritage that these dogs have as well. And so we started looking, and I had just started looking with Holly at Seppala kennels when Holly messaged me and said that she was excited that she saw that there was a listing or a posting on a Facebook page that you guys had a couple of Seppala puppies that were still available, and I got on there and put a message in to Robin right away, and the rest is history. That's how I decided to do it.
That's an amazing sharing of your life. But you know what's amazing to me is, for myself, I've been around the husky for over 45 years. I've always had huskies for that length of period of time. And I heard you say that you had, for 30 years been involved with them, the breed. So here's, the thing for me, because, there are breeders and there are mushers and there are kennels and there are who into all three. But to have decades into it, to me, that shows your compassion for the animal, but your understanding of the animal and the character traits that it has. The interesting thing, and you're spot on that there's a special connection with the animal itself, as well as the gentleman, and where I think of Leonard Seppala. And so it's not just history with the dog, but there's history in the sport of mushing. And then of course, you talk about ski joring, and you can keep going, not just with sports recreation, but the fact that they're working dogs is a great commodity to have, let alone companionship, presented in your life that way. So it's an amazing thing, not just the animal and the heritage that you have, not blowing up Flaming Arrow kennels or Lance and Robin. What I'm talking about is the people that are involved with bringing back the breed in that high percentage of like what you have in Gabe, because he is high percentage. And in fact, at 30 years into the being around the creature itself as a Siberian husky goes is an amazing fact, because you and I both know, if the audience is listening to what we're talking about and they know anything of it at all, they would understand not just the responsibility of owning one, but there's a lot that goes forth with it.
And learning just some of the history on sled dogs, the mail carriers in the early 1900s, some of the early races like the Alaskan Sweepstakes. All of that, there's a whole part of, and it encompasses a lot of world history as well, but there's a whole part of American history that encompasses or is in, I'm trying to put it into words, that really has to do with people and dogs, and a way of life, and how that bond between human and dog made life better, or transportation better, or made the mail come, or there's, and I'm fascinated by that. There's so many things. If I could live 2 lifetimes, I don't think I would learn and be able to absorb everything that there is to know about the special bond between dogs and human beings. I think we're learning a lot of really neat stuff right now. And I think with that comes a lot more understanding what it takes to take care of these dogs.
Well, that's it. That's great to hear that. I tell you, you know.
I can't imagine life without them. As long as I can walk and breathe, I'll always have one or more in my life, and I am hoping in the future to at least have a couple more of them. Come here, you goober.
Well, that's great to hear because, you know, as a breeder, here's my pitch to you to sell you another one. You know, but honestly, all joking aside, Rick, and I'll say this because what we have found is that you really don't pick these dogs; they pick you.
Yep.
And
for me, it's the history, the people that have come before, and any way that I can, in some small way, be a part of that, even anonymously, and help move this breed forward. And that's also one of the reasons why I chose a working line dog this time, is because I'm very, very passionate about these types of dogs, these northern breeds. Come here, Gabe. Yeah, he's getting into stuff. And some people, you come across and they, like Jonathan has said, some huskies are couch potatoes, and in the area that I live in, there are a lot of people that have huskies, and there are a lot of backyard breeders. You have a dog that is different than you have a working line dog. You have a dog that is different than your yellow lab that you might take for a walk on occasion, and then they lay by your feet as you're eating or doing whatever you're doing in your daily routine. Mm-hmm. But a husky or a northern breed type dog or a Seppala, that dog wants to be your companion and part of your life, and they have a need for mental stimulation.
Yeah, exactly.
They have there has to be a time where they're learning and they're getting the training that they need. There has to be a time for the exercise that they require, and there has to be a time for play as well. Mm-hmm. And for me, in the very beginning with that first husky, that was a challenge. I learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about that dog, and what it took to care for that dog. And the extreme temperatures that they could withstand as far as the cold. And I'm a cold weather person. I love, my favorite time of year is fall to spring. We get all 4 seasons here, but that's my favorite time of the year. Being outside in the cool air and feeling the cool chill on your cheeks, and then being out with your dog, whether you're training or you're running or you're walking or just taking in nature or going for a ride somewhere. For me, it's when I come home at the end of whether it's a good day or a bad day at work, throughout that work day, I'm looking forward to getting home and doing something with Gabe. And it's been that way with every single husky or northern breed dog that I've had, where you just can't wait to get out and do something with them. And in the community where I live in, lots of people I've gotten to know on my walks and my journeys here and there, and people refer to me as the Husky Man. And I've had some notable people ask me over the years, how many miles a day are you doing? And for the longest time, I really couldn't tell you. I know at one point with a local outfitter here, they gave me a pair of really good Oslo boots to try out that were lightweight, would hold up, were waterproof. And so I tracked my miles that year, and at the 13-month mark, I think I had done just over 1,500 miles. And a famous story, I had walked back into soaking wet because it was pouring rain. Walked into that outfitter and told him, well, I just broke the sole on the boot. And I had both of my huskies I had at the time with me. They gave me a towel, and they came out with another pair of boots for me. So it's, for me, it's the best part of my day. It's not just a time to unwind, but it's a time to really connect with the dog and with nature. I love the smells. I love the wildlife that we encounter. Sometimes we see deer. Sometimes we see beaver. Today earlier today when I was walking Gabe, I was counting pairs of cardinals as we were walking along, and Gabe was eyeing them pretty intently. It's just, for me, it's become, that routine has become so ingrained that I just can't imagine not doing that stuff. And like I said, in my 20s, I would have looked at coat color and eye color, but this time around, I didn't care. The last couple huskies were the same way. I didn't care what they looked like or what color eyes they were going to have or what color coats they were going to have or how big they were going to get. I was just interested in a well-bred northern breed or husky, or in this case a Seppala, because of what they could do. And even if it had been an Alaskan husky, if the dog had the characteristics of a northern breed dog and wanted to be active and work in the winter time, that was really what I was after. And for me, it's just there is no feeling in the world like when you're. I've had several occasions over the last 30 years where I'm out at night and we're out in the middle of a blizzard, and you can see as you're passing by houses and different businesses that everybody is tucked in for the night. Everybody is warm, and you're out with your dogs, and all, you and your dogs are just in total sync. You might be walking, you might be running, but you're in total sync, and it almost feels, it's hard for me to put it into words, but it almost feels like you're getting a glimpse of real truth or real beauty or poetry or what's the beauty of nature or God. You're getting a glimpse behind the curtain of the beauty of life. moments when they happen, when I'm out with the dogs and I have that epiphany as we're running somewhere or walking or whatever. It's just this amazing feeling, and I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Well, I know it's getting late for you. It's probably dark. You said you were in your car.
Yep.
And it's definitely getting late for us, and our dogs are probably going to be carrying on by the time we get home.
Well,
so we probably better.
well, let me
probably
just
better
say
call
this,
it a day.
though. I mean, we've got a three questions that were answered.
Yeah, several of the questions
and
were
so,
answered.
and a lot of things that you shared, and thank you for that.
Yep.
I look forward to it. You know, and
Yeah, and I apologize. Sometimes I can be really chatty. And
you're talking to somebody that, you know, he's got a
You're
big mouth and a big appetite.
You're talking to a chatty Cathy yourself.
Yeah, you know, I mean, here's the thing with that, Rick. I mean, especially when it comes to the Lord, I could talk for the rest of my life.
Amen.
thank you very much.
All right,
And
take care.
You guys, yep, and you guys be safe on the way home, okay?
Yeah.
All right,
All
you
right.
too.
Bye-bye
Bye-bye.
now.
All right, bye.
Bye. I didn't realize he was.
And there you have it, a great conversation with Rick Van Slooten, a wonderful friend and lover of the Seppala Siberians. And we can't wait to hear more of his adventure on his journey with Gabe in Mushing, joining the Mushing community.
Stay tuned for the sequel, because I believe he's going to be the recipient as a steward over our heritage, meaning our livestock and the Seppala pups coming. So
God bless.
stay connected. Stay in Christ. God